As part of Fáilte Ireland's supports on driving domestic sales, boosting sales with social media, this video takes you through creating your social media content. There are 3 stages to making really great social media and doing it in such a way that it's not going to eat up lots of your time. Planning your content, creating the content, and then scheduling the content. So I'm going to take you through each one of these stages in turn. If you've watched the first video in this series on planning your social media content, you'll already be aware of how important it is to put out content that resonates with what is going on in the minds of your target consumer or your persona. So to do that, you can plan what's happening in the next 4 to 6 weeks by considering what's going on nationally, locally, and in your business. It's a good idea to sit down with your team and have a content planning meeting. And in this meeting, you can discuss and agree what kind of things are happening in the world at large that you might jump onto with your social media content. So, for example, the country is coming out of lockdown. Isn't that a wonderful opportunity to post content and share the joy of getting ready to serve people again? Locally, be aware of what's happening in your local environment and don't be afraid to share and support some of the other businesses that are doing great things. In your business, think about all the different things that you're doing to get ready for summer and to bring business back. Don't be afraid to share these. Show people what you're doing and it'll put people's minds at rest. So, a good idea is to write down all of these opportunities that are coming up in the next 4 to 6 weeks. You can do this on paper, you could do it on a spreadsheet, or you can use a content planning tool such as Notion, which I use, and it's free. You've discussed with your team what calendar items coming up you're going to cover. Now you need to consider your frequency and how often are you going to post in social media. Getting this right is really important. If you post too often, you're going to be annoying people. If you post too little, you're not going to be hitting the algorithm and your posts won't be seen. So follow this advice on how often you should post on the main social media platforms and you'll be all right. On Facebook, I'm recommending 1 post a day. On the Instagram feed, you can get away with 1 to 2 a week. But beware, they have got to be stunningly beautiful images or video, no product shots with text all over them, okay? On Instagram stories, you can post 2 to 3 times a week. Now, don't let that put you off. Posting an Instagram story is as easy as taking a picture and hitting send. It will be done in a couple of seconds. People often wonder how many frames should be in a story. Now, we're going to have more on stories later, but if you aim for about 3 frames for a story, you'll be right. A question I am always being asked is, what time of the day should I post? And it's a very good question too. I will answer that by saying that you should post at what time suits your audience best. And the way you can discover that is through testing. Don't Google the answer to this question because you're going to find lots of research that was carried out for very large audiences, like, for example, the States, which have millions of consumers and different time zones. So what they will say is not going to work for Ireland. As a social media practitioner in Ireland, I can tell you that Instagram is an everyday kind of a platform. And if you think of the hours of 9 to 5, it's good to catch people before 9 o'clock in the morning and after about 5 or 6 in the evening. Facebook is brilliant on a Thursday and Friday after 7 o'clock and all weekend long. So knock yourself out with those posts starting at about 7:30 on a Thursday evening. And the peak time for Twitter is lunchtimes at around 1 o'clock every day of the working week. Don't just take these timings as gospel. What I strongly suggest you do is you test it for yourself. So, for example, in your content plan, you can put out your first 2 weeks of content at 6 o'clock on Instagram. And then 2 weeks later, do another 2 weeks of content at 8 o'clock on Instagram. And just measure to see which posts got the most views and the most engagement. Really, it's about views at this point because it's really about who's getting to see the content. If the 8 o'clock in the evening time worked better, well then stick with that time. If 6 o'clock worked better, try for 6:30. So always be testing is a really, really good mantra to keep in the back of your mind when it comes to social media content. A lot of smart social media marketers are producers of what we call evergreen content. Evergreen content are the kind of posts that you can put out in June, in September, in October. They are relevant for use at all times of the year, and they work at all times of the year. And the really good news is that people won't remember them. So it's a very good idea for you to look at producing a few little nuggets of evergreen content, and then you will have them ready to drop into your content plan whenever you wish. So remember we were talking about capturing attention and driving awareness at the top of the funnel? Well, a really good idea is to come up with some gorgeous pieces on your destination that are not time specific, and you can use these as evergreen content in your social media all throughout the year. That's a good tip. Other content that you can plan, referencing the AIDA model that we looked at in the first video of this series, which is called Planning Social Media Content, is to look at interest. So for interest, this is where you produce some posts that drive the features of your offer. Talk about the benefits of why people should come to you and why you and no one else. It's your USP, your unique selling point. The desire is where you're going to use content that overcomes blockers. You're going to be addressing those hygiene and safety concerns. Use social proof if you've got it. And this could be even as simple as lifting some testimonials or TripAdvisor reviews and putting them out into your Facebook and your Instagram feeds. When it comes to taking action, put out that offer with confidence. Use a strong call to action and use urgency to make people feel that they've got to book this now or they're going to miss out. So you can plan content for your social media that will adhere to each stage of the funnel. And as you can probably see yourself now, isn't it much better to drive the interest and the awareness before hitting them with the offer? Businesses that just post offers find that they aren't going to be getting the same levels of engagement as businesses that post to the passion and the joy of what they do. So try it for summer 2020 and let's see what effect it'll have on the leads and the sales that you generate. You know what touch points in the calendar you're going to be talking about, and you have a really good idea of the AIDA content that you need to make. The next step is to make a little list of the content that you already have or the content that can be repurposed to fit your current needs. This will highlight what your shopping list of new content should be, and this is where we turn right now to the creating of new content. There's lots of research that shows how people are consuming more and more video and social media. So really, if you haven't made the big step into video for social media yet, I'd urge you to give it a go for this campaign in summer 2020. There are lots of apps that you can use to enhance your images and your video. And for more help on creating stunning videos and images, I'd advise you to watch the suite of videos on creating compelling content, which are also available as part of these supports. Really, the trickiest thing about video with social media is really understanding what length of video you need to make for each platform. The good news is Instagram is so easy. Instagram stories are 15 seconds long, maximum 15 seconds long, and they're vertical. That's the kind of tricky part, knowing that they're vertical. Instagram feed, that's the square ones, they can be videos up to 60 seconds long. Now, there is a thing called IGTV and Instagram Live, and they enable you to post longer videos, but most of us are going to be focusing on the feed and stories for the time being. So it's 15 seconds and 60 seconds. For Facebook and Twitter, you're looking at up to 60 minutes on Facebook, but shorter is recommended. So what I always do is I would put the same length on my Facebook videos as I would on my Instagram feed, just to keep it simple. So one of my favorite things to do is to introduce people to the apps that are available to help them enhance their images and create video. So even if you don't have video, you can put together 5 or 6 gorgeous images, and these app makers will make it appear like a video. They'll even give you a template look to drop it out in and make it look super professional and fantastic. So there's an entire ecosystem of these apps out there, and really they're more or less the same as each other. The thing you need to do is just find the app that works for you. These are some of the apps that I recommend here. You can source beautiful images from stock photography websites or from Ireland's content pool. You can use user-generated content with permission, And a great app for this is Regram. And literally, you can just set up a search on your name or on your hashtag. And anytime anyone posts any material on Instagram using your hashtag or name, you will see this and you can literally share this content to your feed with 2 clicks. Tap, tap, you've done it. Have you ever wondered how people get really good captions onto their videos? A great one to use for this is Capwing. You literally just upload the video and it will suggest the captions for you, and you can make some edits, hit save, and then you've got a video with captions made ready to share on your social media channels. Look at all these stunning images from businesses just like you. And if you're wondering, how am I ever going to produce images just like this? It's actually incredibly easy. You can tap into Ireland's content pool. You can use the Regram button to share other people's images. So just go out and follow accounts in your locality, like the Cliffs of Moher or Love in Dublin, who are producing stunning imagery and video just like this, and which is there for you to share on your feed and drive awareness and promote your destination. Another great tip when you're taking images is to always shoot from the same angle. So if you have a good photographer friend, you could ask them to advise you on what are the best angles for you, your business, or some of the key areas that you need to show. So this is a great example of Locks in Dublin. They always shoot their food from this angle. And they simultaneously show a little bit of where they're located by the canal, as well as a really nice, consistent and coherent way of showing the image. All this talk about videos and images, let's not forget text. There are captions that appear on videos, that's the text. And remember, 85% of people on Facebook watch videos without sound. So you need to make sure there's captions and entice them to turn the sound on. Captions on Instagram posts or Facebook posts with images need to be cleverly thought out. There are 2 schools of thought on this. You could go with the long storytelling style favoured by National Geographic. Check it out, they're an absolute joy to read. Or you could go with the shorter, more succinct style, but pay attention to your caption, whether it's appearing on your video or accompanying your image. Now, back to our example, and here's our chance to shine. We're going to promote our offer here in this example on Instagram, and we've paid a little bit of attention to the caption. We've led in with a question, we've referred to the campaign idea, and we've used some interesting hashtags with a very clear call to action, which is link in bio. Now, a note on this in Instagram, if you have less than 10,000 followers on Instagram, you can only place a clickable link in your bio. And that's why when you're posting an offer, you would say to people, link in bio, and everybody knows to go and click the one clickable link on your bio. So now you have an abundance of images and video and you're ready to promote them on your social media channels. Social media management tools can save you an awful lot of time. Scheduling content that you've made means you can sit down and do it all in one go, and the job is done for the month. If you're posting to Facebook or Twitter, there is a scheduler inbuilt in each tool that you can use. Instagram doesn't allow you to schedule from within the tool yourself, so you're going to have to use a scheduling tool for this. There's lots of them out there. I really like Later or Planoly or Hopper. So really just check out the one you like and get started on scheduling your Instagram posts in this way. If you are already using a social media scheduling tool such as Hootsuite or Buffer, Agorapulse or SocialBee, you can simply sit down and promote all of your posts in one go from the same tool. It's not about the tool though. At the scheduling stage of our process, we are uploading our images and our videos, and we're going to work hard on making sure that we have our captions and our hashtags in correctly. When you sit down to schedule your content, it's very important that you pay attention to your tags and your hashtags at this point. Hashtags ensure that your content will be found not just by the people who follow you, but by a broader audience. So the way it works on Instagram, for example, is that content gets tagged with a hashtag, and then anyone who searches will see all of the posts that have been tagged in this way. So it's a really good way of getting your content to bubble up into something that is growing in national importance. So on Facebook, we don't really use hashtags, but be sure to tag anyone that appears in your images or your video, because what happens here is that they will get a notification that they have been tagged by your page. And this will bring them over to the content where they might choose to share it, or they may comment on it, or they like it in some way, shape, or form. On Twitter, best practice is to add no more than 3 hashtags and in order to get your content seen. And on Instagram, you can knock yourself out and you can go with 7 to 10 hashtags. Now, it doesn't matter whether you put the hashtag into the caption on Instagram or whether you post those hashtags as a comment on your post from the point of view of getting the goodness on the algorithm. So if you're using a scheduling tool like I recommend, what I always do is write the caption and then make some line spaces, and then you can paste all of your hashtags down below, kind of out of sight. It's a good idea at this point at the start of the summer to research your hashtags and have a little list of the hashtags that you're going to use in all of your posts. To do this, you can check your competitors and see what kind of hashtags they're using. Or if you're the innovator, you come up with the hashtags that you're going to use for your business and let the others follow you. A nice little thing on Instagram, when you search for hashtags, it will also show you related hashtags. So you might include some of them in your list. And if you're stuck, you can use regional hashtags such as Wild Atlantic Way, Ireland's Hidden Heartlands. You can use hashtags like Throwback Thursday, which are kind of globally used ones. And of course, we strongly urge you to use hashtags for this summer's campaign, which is Make a Break for It. So your social media week is going to look a little bit like this. What I recommend you do is sit down with your team and plan your content on the Monday. And that way you can have conversations about who needs to do what in terms of the content generation during the week. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, earmark that for digging out content that you're going to reuse again, creating new images, getting videos down from the Fáilte Ireland library or from other sources. And then Friday, you're going to sit down and bring it all together, schedule the content, write your captions and your hashtags, hit send. That way, you do not have to be worrying about your social media for the whole entire month. You do not have to be working on social media all month long if you follow the steps in this process. On top of that, if you plan your content in this way, it will ensure that you have consistently good content that is reaching out and is getting into the minds of your personas with content that they actually want to see. So the key takeaways on social media content planning are to plan your content about 4 to 6 weeks in advance, and this gives you time to prepare or repurpose existing content. Discover your favorite app for creating and enhancing images and video. Now really is the time to bring on video. And take care when you're posting to really make that caption and hashtags work. The download to support this video, Developing Captions and Hashtags, is available on the Fáilte Ireland website. Thank you very much for watching, and I hope you found this useful.